what I told Michael was I'd like to come back here and sit down and talk with you. I'm sure he's told you we're giving this opportunity to everybody, the case, Jason, and even the people at the bottom and everybody in between, because really what we want to do is make sure all the evidence fits together like pieces of a puzzle, make sure we get it right. And if for some reason you tell us something that's different than what everybody else said, we got to figure out why it's different. Maybe we heard something wrong or saw something wrong, that type of thing. So that's really what we're here to do. What I told Michael is that nothing you say here today will be used against you later. You can talk openly and freely and not worry about talking yourself into any trouble. There's only a couple caveats to that. First is that if there's anything violent you did, any rapes, robberies, murders, we don't want to talk about that. We just want to talk about drug and drug-related crimes. Secondly, your words won't be used against you later except for two situations. One is perjury prosecution, so that if you lied to us, they could use your words to show that you had said something that was a misstatement. The second time is if we're unable to reach a resolution and you end up going to trial, and then you decide to take the stand and you say something contrary at the stand to what we talked about today, your statement could be used to show that you've given a different version at a different time. We wouldn't use it in our case to prove your case, the charges against you. So it can be used what they call impeachment to show that you'd given a different version. Okay, but other than that, that's the only time the statement would be used against you. You with me? Okay. If there's anything you don't want to talk about, you don't have to talk about. You just tell us that. We'll move on. But what we do talk about needs to be the truth, or else it just wastes everybody's time. If you want to talk to Michael private at any point, you let us know. We'll step outside. You can talk to him. But really, I'm sure he's already told you. The idea is we're not trying to trick anybody or catch anybody up anything. We're just kind of laying everything out and seeing what we could do to kind of move this case on forward. As I'm sure he's told you, you have the 25-year minimum mandatory, and the only way the law allows the judge to get out from underneath that, assuming the jury convicts you as charged, is for us to be able to certify that you've provided assistance to law enforcement, and that the law allows us to go underneath that. So that's really what we're doing here today, is so that we can talk and then we can justify in the future cutting you a break by saying that you were able to assist law enforcement. Okay. Some of the questions Ross is going to ask you, he already knows the answers to. The reason he does that is he has to be able to gauge whether or not you're telling the truth. So if he asks a question that seems silly, he already knows the answers to, just go ahead and answer it. That way we can move on. Okay? Do you have any questions before we begin?
No, sir.
All right. Do me a favor, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, all the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can put your hand down. I don't know a whole lot about you other than what I've read in the police reports. Have you lived your whole life in DeLand?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever lived in any place else?
No, I visited Georgia, but
How long were you in Georgia?
just for Thanksgiving and stuff like that.
Okay, so not like you never lived out there.
Basically, I only lived in DeLand.
Okay, and how old are you now?
22.
22. Okay. And, all right, and you have, I know, you have your mom and your grandparents and your
3 kids.
dad and 3 kids. The 3 kids live in DeLand?
No, they live Lake Mary and Palm Coast and Gresham and Deltona.
Okay. You have a relationship to those kids? I mean, you get to see them and
Every
stuff?
week. I pick them up every weekend.
Okay, so, okay, good. Ross, where do you want to begin?
Let's start off how you got into selling pills. I mean, what started it all? Like, when did you first start?
Used to sell weed.
You sell weed?
And people that, and then to keep my kids my age at school, and then progressively.
What school did you go to?
D-Line Middle and D-Line High.
D-Line High.
Yeah. I was selling low weed to them and stuff, and then progressively bills came, and my daddy was getting scripts, and
your dad's name is?
Robert Thomas.
Robert Thomas. Okay.
He was getting scripts, and then the people that was selling, kids my age were selling weed to, they progressed the pills and told me they ain't want weed no more. So I was like, what kind of pills? So it happened, they said the same pills that my daddy was already getting at the doctor shopping way back in. Doctor shopping hit real big in 2012, 13.
Yeah.
So then I started getting them from my dad and telling him, instead of him wholesaling to somebody, I know some people my age that'll pay more, and then once I'm dealing with them, they just put me on to, I'm sure y'all know how it go, they put me on to their dad and aunties, and that's what I really like.
What kind of pills were those?
Oxycodone, 30 milligrams. The hydromorphone, I don't really deal with. I mean,
that was a D's or
if they,
or whatever.
Yeah, if they, you know what I mean, press me to get them, I just have them around. But other than that, just the blues with my dad was getting originally. Yeah.
Okay. So you started establishing your customer base based off of a lot of the kids in high school, their
basically,
parents and whatever.
Basically, from high school, and then you got some of them that's Lou age, who went to school with Lou and Lou's brother, so, you know what I mean? And they all hang. All the kids stuff at school, they all hang, so they all know.
Now, was Lewis and them doing stuff on their own, or did they kind of start when you did?
I was kind of by myself, but all of us sell weed. But as far as venturing, you know what I mean, by myself daily, I be by myself daily. I call Lou, talk to Lou and stuff,
But back then, when we first started out.
back then, nah, just me and my daddy, really.
So was Lou involved with pills at all back then?
Back then, no, I think he was just involved with weed mostly.
And how did he shift over to pills?
Because of me.
Same type of way?
Yeah, and my dad, yeah. And, you know, he got them pressuring them. They ain't want weed no more. They want pills, so we got to try to find somebody who got pills, though.
So back then, how many pills were you getting from your dad?
Oh, not that
Probably. You know, how many, like when he does a script, how much would he be getting at a time? Maybe a month?
Way back when Dr. Shop first stopping, you know, you can go to 3 or 4 doctors there.
Yeah.
So 180, 90s, 180 oxycodone, 90s antibars, and probably like 68 oxycodone 15. So that's, you do 5 of them, running 5 different doctors. That's a lot. So, but I never had them in my possession. I just go to him and tell him where to pull up at and be like, give me 10 or give me 5.
You just fill the order whenever, whatever you need, you go get.
Even if they call and say like, they need this many, I lie and say, I got them because I know he got them.
So then when did you start branching out or start on your own more?
Probably within the last, right under 2 years.
2 years?
Okay.
And before we leave your dad, first let me just ask you real quick. So was your dad selling pills as well?
Yeah, he was wholesaling to somebody else.
But who was grabbing all those pills from him?
I don't know back then. He just, but I was telling him what they was giving him. I was telling him I can get you more because, you know.
Do you remember how much he was getting from the guy he was wholesaling them to?
I can't remember. Probably like, back then, they were probably not going for nothing but $11, $12. And I was probably selling them, I told him I'd get him 15 a piece for him back then. So
Okay.
I don't know his direct dude who he'd take him to.
And do you know how he got into it? As far as he never said.
Everybody was doing it. As far as I know, I don't know nobody specific who. I know they were doing the fake MRIs. And,
that whole bit. And so was your dad?
I was young then. I was kind of way young then. So you know, I'm just really just.
Was your dad sponsoring other people to go out, or was he doing all those 5
he was doing
doctors
it
himself?
He was doing that himself. Yeah, I think he got in trouble for that probation or something.
Okay.
A lot of people was doing that. Because you didn't need nobody to bring it to you. All you do is get a fake MRI. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm probably 15, 16. You can just go and get different scripts, Miami, Orlando. But yeah, that's the reason why I got in the pill business is because I was dealing with just weed, and then
People started asking for
they
it.
started asking, they pressuring, and just ended up getting it from my dad. I was like, well, that's the same kind of pill my dad getting. So hold on, let me make sure. You said what they is? I was put on blues. I didn't even know there was blues at first. I was like, they call these blues. They was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I got somebody trying to pull up. They want like 5 of them. They'll give you 15 a piece. And then through the years, gradually, the price go up to a different price, probably like 20. And in the pharmacy, Dr. Shop had stopped. They was busting people for it. So, but somehow my daddy was still getting different scripts. So whatever I was short on, I go get it from him, and now my price got to go up. So I can try to make me a little something. Yeah.
So at some point, though, did you start branching away from your dad? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Out on your own more?
Kinda, yeah.
You know?
But if I know he still get them. So once I did branch out, I'm going. If I was short, I'll still go back to him.
Right.
I just lied. Somebody asked me the amount I had. I know he don't got many people I was connected with because of school, of course. My kids, he's doing bills now, so I know more people.
But who were you getting them from after if your dad wasn't going to be your main person, like
After
when you
that-
first started off as your next person who you're
After that, it was Jason. That was what y'all know already.
Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you meet Jason?
Through Tyrone.
Tyrone Henderson?
Yeah.
How'd you meet Tyrone?
I always knew of him. And we used to he used to sell rims and Sanford and stuff, so I always knew of him. And then going to car shows, I like cars a lot, so we went to car shows and went to talking and all that, and met Jason. And then Jason asked me what I was doing, and you know what I mean? And then I was like, sell bills and stuff, and he was like, oh, well.
Do you remember when that was? Because when did you first start getting involved in the pills? Was it
From
like
Jason or originally?
Originally.
Probably when Dr. Shop was going on 2012 or something like that, 13.
Okay. And
But
so,
it wasn't as heavy
right.
as this last year.
And so when did you then shift for, let's say, when you met Jason, when was that?
Probably 2014, late 2014 maybe,
And if you look back and
or early 15.
tell me when it is, if you can pinpoint a time or a month or something like that, that you were selling the most pills you ever sold, when would it have been?
The
You understand?
month?
Yeah, you understand my question? Like, were you at the biggest, like right before you got arrested, or like a year before that, or when were you selling the most pills you ever had?
Probably 2015,
And
maybe October, maybe somewhere.
what
like
was that? Had you met Jason by
Yeah.
then?
that. Like I
Okay.
said, I met Jason probably late 14, early 15.
When did you get shot? Do you remember when that was?
December 23rd, 2015, I believe.
Okay, so it was right before you got shot, where you were at the probably selling the most you ever had.
Most likely, yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go back. So Tyrone, you said you met him because it was selling rims or buying rims.
Me and Tyrone, we don't do no business because
Well, that was my question. Did you ever deal in coke with him or buy
Nah.
coke from him or anything like
we
that?
just always on the phone. If y'all had to watch, I mean, him always talking about cars, a lot of stuff, just every day, every
So you
morning,
never had
all
any
night.
business with him,
Besides, yeah.
just
'Cause I
car
asked,
business.
I asked him, and I asked him too, that do he know if people get them? Do he know anybody get posse? And he said,
So Tyrone never loaned you any pills through this whole case, and he wanted them back.
no, he tried to trade. He tried to trade
He
before,
gave you
like,
some, but he really wanted them back because he had his own customers.
yeah,
It
say
sounded
like
over
Hydromo
Sanford.
phone. Like, say I just have Hydromo phone sitting. I don't really deal with them like that. Like I said, I just had them sitting for people who might want him something here and there. So, he know I got him. Evidently, I tell him.
Yeah.
And then he, like you say, try to come
And
trade.
he came over one time when you didn't have anything, and he was riding around with you, selling
More
to
than
some
one
of your
time.
customers. Huh?
Yeah, more. No.
I know one
That
time.
right there one time, but that
I
was,
know
I
that
think that
one
happened
time.
no more than once. But as far as just
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like trying to trade out and stuff, yeah, we done that.
Okay, all right. I just remember.
Yeah, you right on the head now, because that one day he did, I didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
And he so happened to have a lighter version of what I had,
Right.
so I told him I'd
exactly.
get rid of him.
It wasn't as good because you were telling
So did
everybody.
you make anything off of that when you
No.
was getting rid of him?
I don't like that.
Nothing. So I mean, why do it if you weren't getting anything from it?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you wanted to keep your customers satisfied or whatever?
That
So you
too.
got
That too, because
Uh-huh.
between him and Jason, that's what the pressure had on me. Like, even when I just want to just go hang out and stuff, and
Mhm.
pop up, it get hectic. So I just try to keep everybody happy.
Right.
okay.
Well, I tell you, I'll be on. I mean, through the whole case, I mean, you were like point on. Like we talked. It was like you were on point with everybody. You were like a businessman. Kid you
can't
not.
even-
You wake
I
up
can't-
at 8, 9 o'clock. You know,
No,
we had your
yeah,
system
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
You know, for you'd end up over by Earl Brown a lot of times early in the morning. Then,
Yeah.
then Boundary, Julia. You had your spots, and then hey, you told people on the phone, man. You said, "Don't call me after 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
I'm done."
that's it.
You know.
If it wasn't for them, I'd have been stopped, because there's times I told my girl and my mom, like, I just want to stop, but from them popping up and they just put pressure on you. And then I know them from school, half of them and stuff, or I know their mom them for a little minute.
And you talking about the people that buying from you?
Yeah, like Kayla and all them, and her dad and stuff. Like, I knew them for a while, even when I used to sell Kayla weed. So she's like more of a friend, kind of. So you
Yeah.
know,
So let's go back now. We can start. We work our way down, I guess. I don't know. So Jason, what was the most pills you ever bought? Got
most
from
bills
Jason?
probably close to 500,
500.
close to 500. And then if somebody called and I said more to them, because I know I could get them from my dad, he had them too.
Just
so
500 at a time, or was it?
it
Did
could
you
be
ever
like
get
300.
some of this
Yeah,
and that?
390 oxycodone, one something, hydromophone.
Uh huh.
Yeah, something like that.
So when you said 500 from Jason, was that 500 the blues, the oxys?
Or we'll split them. Or we'll split it down, like I just said, maybe.
Oh, divided it up.
Yeah, divide it up. Because he know I don't really like the hydromophone.
Mhm.
I don't really.
And why don't you like them? I mean, you get the
Because
same money for
hydromophone,
them, right?
yeah, because people who do the hydromophone, they shoot them.
Right.
And I don't like to deal with people who shoot pills. They get out of hand. So
Wow.
Kayla and all them, they kind of snort them and stuff down, and they shoot them. And
So you can tell a difference in the way they act
yeah,
with
well,
you?
yeah,
Was Kayla Vermillion? Kayla?
Yeah.
yeah. Her and her dad.
Stanley? Here, Stanley.
He goes by something
I
else.
call him Mike or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why too, hydromophone people out there selling them, they really get aggravated.
So, going back to Jason then, so you would get, how long have you been dealing with Jason total?
Probably from early 15 or January, Probably somewhere from February 15 to around the time I got shot.
And how often would you see him?
Because 14, early 14 is stuff I wasn't dealing with. I didn't even know me.
Okay.
And how often would I see him? It'd be twice, maybe twice a week. 3 times be pushing it because that's a lot.
Was he your main connect?
Yeah. He told me
Was
that.
there anybody else when he was out that you could go to? Other than like your dad or whatever?
Precious and Henry. I was dealing with them, but he made me cut them off because he said I didn't have to deal with them no more because he's gonna have because he's gonna have basically what they have and more like.
He wanted you just
So
to
I
come
wasn't
with
even
him?
dealing with Henry. I don't even know how Henry got in this really because I wasn't dealing with him. He was begging my dad though. Like if y'all had my phone tapped, y'all probably heard conversations where like Precious and Henry and all them calling me to that's why when y'all did y'all thing said I'm a distributor. I didn't understand because they calling me trying to get me to buy their bills, but I'm telling them I'm good because I didn't need them.
Yeah, but they're trying to get rid of it. They're trying to make some money. So yeah, no, I'm with you. I believe
And
that.
then time they'll come get my money and try to go do what they got to do.
But Jason's basically your main guy.
Yeah.
Who was Jason's guy? Do you know who that was?
Never.
You never. You know where he was at or anything? Do you ever tell you anything about
Probably
it?
somewhere down in Bradenton, Polk County, whatever that's at.
But did he ever tell you a name or what the guy was like or
And I was dealing with a doctor on the song.
a doctor?
So it had to be because doctor shopping wasn't going on no more. So I didn't
Get that amount of pills all the time.
They got to be a doctor coming out the back door. That's the only way I think so.
Yeah.
Because besides that doctor shopping stop out there, no nobody did that. Not but him.
Did he tell you where, like, what pharmacies he dealt with or anything like that? No, he just always showed up. He handed pills.
Yeah.
Would he bring them to you?
My mom told me I could trust him. Because at first I was like, I ain't seen nobody do this since way back when I was younger, 15, 16 years old, and I wasn't that big. So
Would they bring them to you, or you'd have to go get them from him?
we'll swap, whatever. He'll come, I'll go.
I take a minute.
Yeah. Okay. What you want? It would be easier probably if you guys go into the